Originating from the Millennium Declaration and adopted in 2000 by world leaders and aimed to be achieved by 2015, the Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs, were agreed upon by 193 UN member states and over 23 international aid organisations. They aim to provide a benchmark for eradicating poverty and its many aspects. 8 Millennium Development Goals can be broken up into 21 targets, measured by over 60 indicators. The 8 goals are: to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, to achieve universal primary education, to promote gender equality and empower women, to reduce child mortality rates, to improve maternal health, to combat HIV, malaria and other diseases, to ensure environmental sustainability, and to develop a global partnership for development. I believe the most important global issues and Millennium Development Goals that need to be focused on are education, extreme poverty and hunger, as well as HIV, AIDS and other diseases. According to current statistics, over 121 million children globally are not in school or forced to leave before they've learned to read or write. Poverty is more than just the lack of food or water. The United Nations definition of poverty states that fundamentally poverty is a denial of choices and opportunities, a violation of human dignity. It means lack of basic capacity to participate effectively in society. It means not having enough to feed and clothe a family, not having a school or clinic to go to, not having enough land to which grow one's food or a job to earn one's living, not having access to credit. It means insecurity, powerlessness and exclusion of individuals, households and communities. It means susceptibility to violence, and it often implies living on marginal, fragile environments without access to clean water or sanitation. Imagine if you'd never been educated, not able to read, write, function in society. Lack of education is the biggest disadvantage a person or nation can have. The gap is getting bigger and bigger and allows first world countries to take advantage of uneducated nations. The second Millennium Development Goal aims to ensure that by 2015 children everywhere, boys and girls alike, will be able to complete a full course of primary schooling, and increase net enrollment ratio in primary education, the proportion of pupils starting grade 1 who reach last grade, and increase primary literacy rate of 15 to 25-year-olds, women and men. If this goal is succeeded, it will have the biggest impact and allow for other goals to be achieved more easily and quickly. There are over 860 million illiterate people in the world, of whom 61% come from Bangladesh, China, India and Pakistan, and 66% are women. In 41 countries, including some Central and Eastern European nations, the number of children with access to primary education has actually fallen since 2000. Over 103 million primary school-aged children worldwide are not enrolled in school. The main goal that aid organisations and countries providing aid should be focusing on is education. Like the ancient Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. Although there has been an increased enrolment and attendance rates from 2000 to 2008 by 6%, the goal is being restricted by increased dropout rates, lack of teachers and equipment. To achieve the goal by the target date, all children at official entry age for primary schooling would have had to be attending classes by 2009. Instead, in half of the sub-Saharan African countries with available data, at least 1 in 4 children of enrollment age was not attending school in 2008. The number of people attending school is in decline. It has decreased from 106 million to 69 million in 2008. These statistics do not show promise that the goal will be achieved by 2015. The first goal, the eradication of extreme poverty and hunger, has 3 main targets. To halve, by 2015, the proportion of people whose income is less than $1 a day. To achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all, including women and young people. To halve, by 2015, the proportion of people who suffer from hunger. We, in developed countries, have always been bombarded with statistics, films and photos of extreme poverty in African countries in particular. So much attention has been brought to these poverty-stricken countries that first world countries all around the world have set up aid organisations dedicated to helping those in need. There are over 34 million people living with a form of HIV or AIDS globally. Even though HIV infections have declined by nearly a quarter between 2001 and 2009, the epidemic continues to increase faster and is being declined. Even though aid organisations are helping, many things stand in their way and affect the quality of their help. Things like corruption in the government, like in Zimbabwe. Events like the global financial crisis impacted the progression of this and other Millennium Development Goals. However, even with these interruptions, if we work together, this goal could still be met by 2015. Goal 6 is to combat the spread of HIV/AIDS, malaria and other diseases. Its targets are to halt and begin to reverse by 2015 the spread of HIV/AIDS, to achieve by 2010 universal access to treatment for HIV/AIDS for all those who need it, and to halt and begin to reverse by 2015 the incidence of malaria and other major diseases. HIV is an epidemic throughout developing countries. Over 7,000 people each day are diagnosed with the disease, and without proper education, no less than 5,000 people will die every single day from AIDS-related diseases. AIDS is the biggest killer of reproductive age women. Malaria is another disease which threatens millions each year. In developing countries, a child will die every 45 seconds due to malaria, which makes up over 20% of child mortality in the world. Unless we work together to provide the proper education and resources, people in developing countries will never overcome these epidemics. Australia has many organisations that provide aid in various areas: HIV, poverty, education. We spend over $3.8 billion on foreign aid, which is 0.34% of our GDP. One country in particular that we provide a lot of assistance to is Indonesia. We provide a lot of aid in combating deadly diseases and attempt to reach the goal by 2015. AusAid organisations based in Indonesia are working to train nurses and midwives and are giving free treatment to patients infected by HIV. Australia has put in over $150 million in 2009 from $130 million in 2008 to combat the spread of HIV. Australia is on the right track to giving Indonesia all the education and resources it needs to prevent the spread of diseases like that of HIV and malaria, which kill far too many people each year. Indonesia is a massive country with over 240 million people, with over 300,000 people who aren't receiving treatment for these deadly diseases. If aid organisations, Australia and overseas, continue to provide aid for countries like Indonesia, we could well be on our way to achieving the Millennium Development Goals.